back to Dar es Salaam. So we had we called it a Civil Societies Week in Arusha the previous week. It was a heavy week. I hardly slept that week. So on my way to Dar es Salaam, I had to stop to a coffee shop to have this meeting. I hope the background voices won't affect my my voice. But I am Daniel Haule. I work with the Foundation for Civil Society in Dar es Salaam. I work as a resource mobilization and philanthropy consultant, where I also lead the Giving Tuesday movement in Tanzania. But also I am a representative in the SADC Youth Parliament, and also I coordinate the philanthropy forums in Tanzania. To me, I usually call myself a son of Giving Tuesday Tanzania, because I started my involvement with Giving Tuesday Tanzania was when I was in my university, and I started as a volunteer when I won my the first My Giving Story competition in Tanzania. That was in 2018. So since then, I've been part of Giving Tuesday as a volunteer until now as a country lead. And we're also last week on Friday, we had our other batch of My Giving Story winners. I'm glad to be here, and I hope we'll have a very fruitful meeting and conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much to you both, Daniel and Sne. I think it's very important that the people who carry the voice for mobilizing people are equally involved in doing the work that they are inspiring other people to do. And I think just from your introductions, and I know you've only shared but a drop in the ocean, but it's important that we all make the link, because I think for me as an ordinary person, it inspires me and it lets me know that I too can make a difference in my corner. I too can play a part in whichever sector I'm in whichever community or background that I come from. I can contribute to make a better, to make positive social impact in my space. So we are absolutely inspired. So there's already a question. I was going to share a few, but I think, you know what, I would love to take the question from Colleen Wasserfall. I hope I'm not butchering your surname. I'm going to read out the question. It's on the messages. What is the best landing platform for getting donations for Giving Tuesday? Would it be Give and Gain? And because this is linked to this question, I'm also going to read the next one. And it is from Sharon Singh, who asks, linked to Colleen's question, are American donors able to receive a tax certificate for donations facilitated through Give and Gain? I hope we can answer some, if not most, aspects of that question. And if we are not able to, I think it's also important just to note that question and note to us so that we can get the information. I'm saying this because both Daniel and Sne are from the African continent and not the US or America. So I'm not sure if this is possible for you to answer, but let's give it a go.
I'm not sure because for us, we usually do donations locally in our environment and through our NGOs and the private sector we have in the country. But I think some of the organizations could be having several landing platforms like GoFundMe. I haven't come across with Give and Gain, so I'm not so sure if I can easily answer that question.
Yes, I think to answer Colleen's question, I do know that Give and Gain is one of the crowdfunding platforms that are used a lot for Giving Tuesday. In fact, Give and Gain has been running Giving Tuesday campaigns since 2019, I believe. So they're a really good platform for you to to run your campaigns. I know there's also Becca Buddy. Becca Buddy is also a great platform, and a few months ago they announced that they would now no longer be charging transactional fees, if I'm not mistaken, for anybody who runs their fundraising campaign on Becca Buddy. And these two are just one of many. What I'm not sure about, though, Sherilyn, is the ability to receive a tax certificate for donations through Give and Gain. I will have to confirm with Yanni, because we actually work closely with Give and Gain, and revert back to you on that one. So if you could please just drop your email address in the chat, and then we will revert back to you shortly. But I think in the spirit of the conversation that we are having, if there is anybody in this chat who knows a little bit more about the ability to get the tax certificate for American donors, please feel free to chip in. As Toni mentioned, today we are having an open conversation. It's not necessarily about us doing presentations, but it's about us paving the way for successful fundraising campaigns or Giving Tuesday campaigns on the 28th of November. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sne. Thank you, Sherilyn, for the questions. I think in light of the fact that you have shared your email address, Sherilyn, on the chat, it would be great if we could have all the guests, if you don't mind, or if you would wish to rather direct your email address to Sne, just so that we can have engagement post this platform as well. Now, I see there is another question, or rather, I think it helps answer some of one of the questions that have already been asked, and it's from Chikumbutso Willard. Considering the context of Malawi where GoFundMe doesn't work, is it okay to use PayPal? Now, I'm not sure if you would like to take a bite at that, Daniel, if you have some insight, Sne, or anybody else who is happy to share their knowledge or insight.
Do we have anyone from Malawi? So, like for us in Tanzania, PayPal doesn't work in Tanzania. So we mostly use the local networks, platforms like M-Pesa, Tigo Pesa, and Airtel Money, where you could have your fundraising activity, and the funds could pass through these mobile networks, and you could have your finances. But also nowadays, most of these local networks have their own foundations, so you could easily maybe seek a partnership with a local network which has a foundation, and see how you could do a crowdfunding together and help for a different cause. So in that case, I think if PayPal works in Malawi, and it could, if it's one of the platforms that could be used for crowdfunding and for people to contribute, then I think it's fine, and they could use it. The good thing about Giving Tuesday, they don't really, you're free to use any platform, and you can choose, you're free to choose anything that you want and that you feel will be better for your fundraising campaign. Yeah.
Thank you so much for those insights, Daniel. Now, I would love to take us, no, I would not love to, but I would like to take us a little step back, just to, for the benefit of everyone who's joining this type of Giving Tuesday platform for the very first time. I would like a little bit of information to be shared by our panelists around how the Giving Tuesday movement came up. So I would like just to change a few things up in the conversation. I'm going to just share some of the questions that already came to mind as we were planning for this conversation. And hopefully it can assist to drive the conversation forward. There may already be questions that sound duplicated with questions that you might have in mind. But I think first, if we can just take one step back and ask, how did the Giving Tuesday movement come about? And I think one of the key things beyond that would also be what are the current perceptions or affinity or associations of Giving Tuesday in your country? I know we have everybody that's participating here is from various countries, and it would be great to get to know a little bit about the perceptions around Giving Tuesday in your country. I would love for the panelists to also, should there be questions that come to your mind, please do take the conversation forward and ask them for the benefit of all of us in the conversation. So let's talk about, how did the Giving Tuesday movement come about? You can speak about Giving Tuesday at a global level, and then also in whether it's South Africa, Sne and Daniel, in Tanzania, in terms of how it was then established there.
All right. No, thank you for that, Toni. I do think it's important to mention, just for the sake of some people who might be hearing about the initiative for the first time, but Giving Tuesday was created in 2012 when a group of individuals felt the need, to create something post the days of Thanksgiving and Black Friday, which is a time in the year when people are very driven by, materialistic desires to purchase things and, just in that whole spirit of wanting to spend. And then a group of individuals in New York thought, why don't we build the same kind of excitement around the idea of now giving back versus just consumerism? And so the Giving Tuesday concept was born, an idea or a day to celebrate generosity and giving back. And it started off in New York, but I'm sure, okay, well, not I'm sure, but many of you know that, Giving Tuesday leverages a hashtag, and it soon became a viral hashtag that was used on social medias, and soon it spread around the globe. I'm sure of concepts such as the Me Too movement, or in South Africa, Fees Must Fall movement. The power of social media. And so Giving Tuesday then started off as a movement of people leveraging the hashtag to promote generosity in their different spaces around the country. And so now, years later, it has become more than just a day that celebrates generosity. By the way, so it's Black Friday, it's Cyber Monday, and then it is Giving Tuesday. The days follow each other. So over the years, it's no longer just an annual day to celebrate. It's become an everyday movement. It's become a collection of people who do whatever they can throughout the whole year, inspiring acts of generosity. And so now it has spread to over 90 countries. And I think we are all united as people. The concept of generosity is a universal concept. So it was not a difficult sell, in the sense that when we learned as South Africa, when we learned about the Giving Tuesday movement, we were excited to participate because we are, already a generous nation. And I think people are just intrinsically generous and they want to give. And so when it comes to answering the part about perception in our countries, for South Africa, it was first a case of, okay, but we've got Nelson Mandela Day. Why must we take part in Giving Tuesday? And the truth of the matter is that Giving Tuesday, Nelson Mandela Day, shares similar values of generosity, active citizenship, and giving back in whatever way you can. And so we work, the two concepts work together. And just like how the idea spread from being established or created in the US and has become a worldwide phenomenon, even Nelson Mandela Day for us has now become a global phenomena. So yes, there was initial resistance in South Africa just because of the misconception that is this something that is competing or something that is different, but actually we're realizing over time that yes, Giving Tuesday and the celebrations we already have as a nation of South Africa towards giving, they align. So I hope I've answered that question.
Daniel, from your side in Tanzania, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask before you come in.
Okay.
I'm going to ask that those who wish to ask other questions are welcome to please do so, and I encourage everyone to do so. But I'm having a little bit of a technical challenge. I'm not sure if there's a connection issue on my end, or if there's an outage which weakens my signal. But I'm going to ask that we do proceed with the conversation should I get disconnected.
Okay.
Please, Daniel, you can take your response forward.
Yeah, thanks. Sne said well about the Giving Tuesday in a global perspective. But for Tanzania, I've joined fully Giving Tuesday in as a volunteer in 2018, but where I work, the Foundation for Civil Society has been a champion of local philanthropy for some time now, for more than 10 years. And in promoting philanthropy agenda in the country, we use Giving Tuesday. We have the Tanzania Philanthropy Forums. We have local fundraising trainings and mobilizing support, as well as community philanthropy trainings. So we have been champions and a global leader for Tanzania since 2016. And during that time until now, we've been able to fundraise over 100 million Tanzanian shillings through Giving Tuesday, but also over 100 organizations, including the private and local NGOs across the country, has participated in Giving Tuesday. And throughout that time, we've done several initiatives. For us, we usually we try to have different initiatives in every country we do or we run Giving Tuesday. So we have done annual blood drives. We have run My Giving Story, and also COVID-19 pandemic inclusiveness initiatives. But also we have done learning sessions. We have supported children with disability at Uhuru Mchanganyiko Primary School here in Dar es Salaam. That was in 2016, where I wasn't there. In 2017, the organization was able to fundraise for children who are suffering from hydrocephalus and spina bifida at a certain hospital in Dar es Salaam. And in 2018 now, they had their first My Giving Story competition, but also they were fundraising for girls who are living in a very difficult conditions at an area called Hope for Girls. It was located in a place around Dar es Salaam. And that's where I came in as I came to know about Giving Tuesday, and I started being a Giving Tuesday volunteer. And since then, I've been part of the Giving Tuesday team. And in 2019, we were able to have an event, and we were able to fundraise for children with disabilities at a certain primary school in Dar es Salaam. And the next year in 2020, in 2020, we fundraised for, you remember it was COVID, so we fundraised for health workers to purchase PPEs during COVID-19. But also in some of our programs, we work with the people with disabilities. So we supported the people with disabilities with user-friendly info packs for COVID-19. But also in the same year, we held a skills fair at the university, at the University of Dar es Salaam in Dar es Salaam. And in 2021, we also had a different skills fair in the different we did it in Dodoma. And in 2022, which was last year, we did we conducted a cleanup at Sasani Beach, which more than 200 people participated. And this year, I may not say what we're going to do, but we're very excited for this year's Giving Tuesday, and that's a bit of a history of Giving Tuesday Tanzania.
Thank you so much, Daniel. That was a great, walk through the memory lane. Hi everyone, my name is Bidemi Adedire. While Toni is working on getting back, joining us due to the technical issues, as you've seen, we've been having all day. I will be taking over for now, but let's pick up for what Daniel has been saying. And before I move to Sne, who's going to tell us about the history of Giving Tuesday SA, some of the amazing programs you've done, Sne. Daniel, are you able to share, because you've mentioned how you've, a lot of fundraising has been done, you've done so many work. Can you share with us what's that secret sauce to fundraising? What's that one thing that has worked over the years that has helped you to fundraise and carry out some of your projects?
Thanks, Bidemi. So in a year that we would want to do fundraising, most of the Giving Tuesday budget, not most of it, I could say, could be a half or 40% comes from within the organization, but it's usually not enough. So in a year that we say we want to do fundraising, we usually do it a bit earlier, could be 2 or 3 months before Giving Tuesday. And let's say we would want to support children who are suffering to a certain disease. Maybe I could take the example when we were supporting the children suffering from hydrocephalus and spina bifida. So we first set the goals, or the clear goals, and they should be specific and achievable. That maybe we'd want to support 100 or 200 children. Yeah. So we view it in a sense that we need to identify our audience, and for us, most of our audiences is the people who are working in non-governmental organizations and the private sectors, who first could be the ones who get services from us, or who we get services from, because at some point an organization, you have vendors and you have people who gives you services. So they're the first people that we approach, and when we do it, we don't in terms of budget, we try to break it in phases. Maybe let's say you may need 100 million cash to support a certain cause, but you can break it in terms of, maybe you'd want to support 100 children, and maybe every child will need an amount like 60,000 Tanzanian shillings. So when you approach a supporter, or when you approach someone for partnership, you just tell them you can support a single child for a certain amount. You just don't tell them that we need 100 million. So you just say you can support a single child for maybe 60,000 shillings. And for them, or for a person can say, oh, it's quite a small amount, or it's not a big amount. I can support maybe 2 children. I can support maybe 3 children. And you find you can exceed your target in that way. But when you go with a huge amount, they will feel they may become afraid to support you, and they may give you a small amount, rather than if you told them in a simple way, and in a small amount, they would support you in a very very, very good way. So I think the good things to note here is setting your clear goals, identifying your audience, but also you could plan well your campaign, securing partnerships and simplifying donations, but also engaging with these donors and supporters and see how you can build a strong partnership with them. That is, even after the event, should give them the report and at least show your gratitude and thanks to them on what they had done, and they should see the impact of what they had contributed. Yeah.
Absolutely, Daniel. Sne, I would like you to also share your fundraising secret. But beyond that, I'd like you to also address the question in the chat that says, what are your top 3 tips for running a successful Giving Tuesday campaign to a South African audience, which I feel is a very great question.
Yes, so Daniel said it so well. We share the same sentiments as South Africa. I think it's important to mention that, so as a country, we launched Giving Tuesday in 2018 and ran it until 2019. And then we only came back now again in 2023. And so that's important to mention because we are sort of in a reintroduction phase as we speak, but we did run a successful Giving Tuesday campaign when we launched in 2018. And how that came about is that we reached out to other non-profits because the truth of the matter is that Giving Tuesday is a movement. It doesn't belong to one company or individual or organization. It's brought to life by a group of people who buy into the idea. And so what myself and another co-lead did at the time, we approached other nonprofits who had fundraising goals. And so we came together and thought, how can we make this come to life? We approached Brand South Africa, which also it's very similar to Giving Tuesday in the sense that it's got the Play Your Part ambassador, it's got the Play Your Part program, which also is a network of everyday people and individuals and organizations who do what they can to give back. We reached out to corporates, and encouraged them and told them about the movement. So it's really about wherever you go, spreading the word about Giving Tuesday and, finding out if people would be interested to partner, because in essence, what it is, it's a day where any cause has an opportunity to be amplified and spotlighted and have their message spread across, a wide network, which is, on digital platforms, the power of social media. And so what happened was, upon engaging these different stakeholders at the time, we then, came up with our very first My Giving Story contest, which is basically people sharing their stories about giving and their generosity on social media, and then having a panel of judges to vote for the best My Giving Story. It can be anything really, from volunteering at your favorite nonprofit or at your favorite charity, or assisting a neighbor with food. I know in our culture, I'm a Zulu woman, we have something called ukunana, which means that you're able to go to your neighbor and say, hey, neighbor, please assist me with some sugar or an onion so that I can cook my supper. It can be anything, assisting a child with school shoes. So anything really. And then we, voted. We ran the My Giving Story contest. People voted for it, and there were 3 winning giving stories at the end of our campaign, and those stories won a prize to give back to their nonprofits. So that was a very good way for us to get excitement and traction about the Giving Tuesday movement in South Africa. And so really just reach out to your networks. That would be my advice. Reach out to whoever you can and see if you can collaborate. And also look at now as an individual nonprofit or as an individual, or let's say you're a corporate, nonprofits usually already have fundraising goals or campaigns that they are working towards throughout the year. So one of the best ways to get started on a Giving Tuesday campaign, I would say, is leverage the message that you already have, your fundraising message, but now, so communicate the fundraising message that you have, but now leverage the Giving Tuesday hashtag, because it's already a global hashtag in which people are tapped in and tuned in, looking for opportunities to give back. And so use the annual day where we celebrate Giving Tuesday, which is this year it's on the 28th of November, to make that campaign go even further. Most of us are on social medias. I know I've been saying this a lot, but it's because it really works. On social media, you have ways that you can set up a page, an event page. Create an event page for whatever goal you have for your nonprofit. If you can, make use of paid ads for that particular period where you can reach a wide range of audiences. I know that as nonprofits, many times budgets are strained, but a little goes a long way when it comes to boosting ads, and really use or designate a time in the year where you'll say, you can separate it, as Daniel has mentioned. You separate your campaign in bite-sized chunks through the year, but use the period of the end of the year, for example, which is the Giving Tuesday month, for example, to have a concerted effort where you put together a content plan, where you've outlined or created captions or posts that tell your story about what it is that you want to achieve, but also tell the story of your organization and why it matters to you and the impact that it makes. People engaged throughout that campaign and explain how far their giving or their involvement will go. And then on the actual day of Giving Tuesday, celebrate the people who have done something, whether it's them, championing your cause by saying, spreading the word about what you do, or giving, donating resources, anything really. But for me, what has worked when it comes to putting together a successful Giving Tuesday campaign would be that creating a campaign and making sure that it's your core focus, and making sure that you use hashtags that are relevant to your organization while using the Giving Tuesday hashtag, so that at the end you're able to track your success. How many people were engaged, how many people gave back, how many people did whatever that they can, because it's important for you to be accountable to people that you've asked to contribute to your campaign. When you've asked people to donate, they need to know where their funds went, or they need to know their time, who it impacted and what it did. And so digital platforms are a great way for you to be able to track and measure your success for your campaigns. And I think the last thing I would say is, okay, there's so much to say, but if you have a website, if your organization has a website, or if your company has a website, create a landing page just for that particular period. It's sort of like a pop-up. So create a landing page or a pop-up that people will see immediately when they visit your website, that says, whatever your fundraising goal is for that year. And then upon putting in their details at that time. You've already captured data. You've created a database of people that you can engage who are potential donors. So that those are just a few ways to create a successful campaign in South Africa. And I think it's important to mention one last thing, which just came to mind now, that when we launched the My Giving Story contest in 2018, we collaborated with Trevor Noah Foundation, and Trevor Noah made a pledge at that time that he would match donations of up to 2 million rand to anybody who gave donations or contributed towards the Trevor Noah Foundation. So this is an idea for a person who's in the room who might be a corporate, or maybe an individual who's got something to give. You could come up with a matching idea to give and say, hey, I will match this amount. And yeah, so that's just us in a nutshell.
Thank you, Sne. Does anyone have Trevor's number? Anyway, so that was pretty. I mean, this webinar, I think it answers a lot of the questions that we even plan to talk about. Some of our speaking points that are here. I would love to. Concerning fundraising, I think someone asked a question. So will it be better to say support 125 children with comprehensive palliative care of 8,121 rand each than say let's raise 1 million? I think this is to Daniel, who mentioned how simplifying fundraising objectives might be key to achieving our goals. Daniel?
Yes, Bidemi, can you repeat that?
Yes, so I'm spotlighting a question in the chat that says, on the fundraising bit where you talked about simplifying fundraising objectives, instead of going with the full number, maybe ask them a donor to help a child, for example, rather than telling them to raise $1 million. So someone is asking, are you saying, to confirm that it's better to support 125 children with comprehensive palliative care of 8,125 rand?
I get it.
Yeah.
It could be tough for when maybe I approach you, Bidemi, and I say, can you support 125 children with so and so? It's could be very difficult. But you can have your how can I say it? Maybe in your campaign you want to support 100 children or 125 children, and when you approach a supporter or when you seek partnerships, you may, as I said earlier, you break down the budgets, so at least you know a cost for supporting a single child. So when you approach a supporter, and there was or it would be better to say, yeah. So maybe the cost of supporting a single child, it's 1,000 rands maybe, or 10,000 rands. So you may approach them in a way that you say we would want to support 100 children, but the cost of supporting one child is 10,000 shillings. So you can just ask them how many could they support. So you tell them the big idea, but also break it down in the smallest way possible. And for them, they could choose to support, could be 1, 2, or 10, or even 20 children, and make sure you show the benefits of their support to these children. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I understand that Colin is trying to sort of, he's talking about the messaging here, right? If I understand you, Colin, you can go off mic if I'm not speaking what's in your mind. So messaging is important because how we craft, for example, our proposals would really determine the buy-in of our donors and people we want to be a part of this. So thank you, Daniel, for clarifying. We have like 10 minutes left, but I'd like to say a few things that really caught my attention. First is from Sne, who mentioned how Giving Tuesday is a day where any cause finds relevance. So one of the things I would say that would make your campaign successful is there is no Giving Tuesday campaign that takes relevance over another. Find what really speaks to you, because then you'll be able to speak from a place of maybe personal experience or a place of passion. And at that point, you'll be able to come up with creative ways to get traction, to get people interested in what you're doing, to tell your story. And even if it's just to raise awareness about a cause, that's something that you can definitely plug into. I also would like to mention, and I'm hoping that the Giving Tuesday South Africa team will be happy to share, that there are toolkits available that can also help with your fundraising ideas, with your campaign. I'm happy to share that with the team. So perhaps after the webinar, we can share all of these resources with you, and it can be of help as well. Also, speaking to fundraising, I think one thing I might probably say is there is something about individual connection to fundraising. So even the big organizations you see, they do this thing where they tell you, help Fatima today, right? Help this one child today. And I know for sure that there is a big number, there is this budget they have in mind, and somehow they are able to, connect with people rather than just organizations and entities in court. I don't know if that makes sense. And Sne, Daniel, I think this is where I ask both of you to share your not final, but for this webinar, your last statements, your closing remarks. What else would you like to share? What other tips or tricks would you like to share with our audience?
Yes, I definitely like your point. Oh, sorry, Daniel. I will let you close off to us. But I like your point, Bidemi, of when you are pushing or promoting your campaigns, you are telling a personal story. You are connecting to heart ties. And so I think one of the important things for us to remember when we ask people to give back, it's equally important to thank them and acknowledge them, which is why we say our main message is pushing generosity. Our main message is us saying, we see you. And what you do, it goes a long way. And we want to celebrate what you're doing, because by doing that, you inspire the next person to know that there's nothing that could be too small for me to do. And sometimes I've seen that nonprofits might push the message of please give, please give, please give, because we are so heavily strained, versus working also on a person's, there's that part that likes knowing that I did that, I made that contribution. So pushing the message that through you, we were able to achieve this as an organization. So thank you for being, one of our unsung heroes in everyday life. But in terms of resources, definitely we have a library of resources as Giving Tuesday South Africa. In fact, the whole Giving Tuesday network, but we have compiled the Giving Tuesday South Africa toolkit, which has resources for corporates, how to set up a campaign as a corporate, how to set up a campaign as an individual, what can you do, as Colleen or as Sherilyn. We've got resources for nonprofits. How do you get started? Resources, gosh, there's a library, putting together a content plan, putting together a press release, putting together a fact sheet that shows you like metrics, measurable metrics for your campaigns. And we will share the link with you post this this webinar. So everybody here will definitely have access to it because we'll share it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sne. Over to you, Daniel.
Sasa Sne, what would you want me to say? You said almost everything. Just maybe something to add. We shouldn't forget to document our our processes, our stories, our initiatives, our campaigns for future references. And it's my hope that everyone in this call will be part of the Giving Tuesday 2023. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This has been quite the webinar. Thank you all for being patient. I think no one left, so we really appreciate sticking with us to the end of this webinar. If there are any more questions you would like to ask, if something comes to mind after the webinar, feel free to connect with the Giving Tuesday South Africa team. Please share the email if that's okay in the chat section. I think, is Bonya still on the call?
Yes, I'm here. I will. Thank you.
Yes, let's all connect. I can see some emails in here. Yes, that's the spirit. Let's connect. Let's see how we can collaborate to come up with one huge thing. I'm looking forward to Giving Tuesday. I'll be online all through on GTD, looking out for everything everyone will be doing and looking forward to amplifying these acts of generosity that we're planning to embark on come November 28th. With that being said, let me give you all like a few seconds to share your emails if you're open to collaborations before we leave, and also give Monia some time to collect these emails as well. Thank you all so much. I'm pretty sure we've covered every question. Yes, we have. So this is us signing out. Sne, is there anything you'd like us to touch on before we leave? We have like 1 minute, literally 1 minute to the time.
No,
Cool.
not really. It's just thank you to everybody who has joined. I'm really excited about Giving Tuesday 2023. Please stay tuned to Giving Tuesday South Africa Instagram and Facebook pages, because we'll be launching the My Giving Story contest for this year, and it's a great opportunity for all of you to tell us what you're already doing, and by doing so empower the nonprofit of your choice with the prize which is in the running. So I'm really excited, and thank you very, very much. We've got everybody's addresses from the sign up, I believe, Bidemi.
Awesome.
Yes, and so I think it's a wrap.
We're good to go.
We are good to go. Enjoy the day. Thank you so much, Daniel, as well, and everybody else who joined us. Have a great Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Oh, happy Giving Tuesday.
Yes, it's a Tuesday. Happy Giving Tuesday, everyone. Bye.
Happy Giving Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.